Hey everybody. Today, I want to talk about Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl. I've been playing it off and on over the past couple weeks since it came out, and I got a few things to say about it. For those of you who don't know, I'm surprised, I'm shocked. Have you been living under a rock? For those of you who don't know, Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl is basically a platform fighter like Super Smash Bros., except instead of Nintendo characters, it's a bunch of Nickelodeon characters. I made a video about it a while ago reacting to the initial launch trailer. That was a lot of fun, and obviously, because I grew up with so many of these Nickelodeon characters, and because I love platform fighters, well, I guess that's kind of a stretch because I haven't really played any of them other than Smash. Since I love Smash Brothers, I guess. I decided, you know what? I'm gonna buy this day one, and I'm gonna give it some plays. I'm gonna give it some time. I'm gonna try to learn it at least a little bit, and I'm gonna play it with some of my friends, which I have, and it's been fun. Nickelodeon Smash is an extremely fun game, and I think what makes it really interesting, and I think what's given it so much press over the past few weeks is because of the people who developed it and how they're developing it. The people who developed this game are fans of Smash, and they're fans of the competitive Smash scene specifically, something that Nintendo would really like to not exist. I think we all have words for Nintendo regarding those decisions, excuse me. So with that in mind, the developers of Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl decided to create it in their image. They decided to create it with a competitive mindset and with a competitive edge and movement that would bring in some of the most die-hard Smash fans. The people who love Melee, the people who love Brawl, and they're going to support the crap out of it and its competitive scene. They want this to be a competitive game. They want it to be the competitive platform fighter that Smash has the potential to reach but can't because Nintendo is a scumbag. But I think that Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl has a very uphill battle to climb if they want to get there. And I'm going to play a little bit of, I'm going to play it muted because I'm gonna play some of it muted, but we're gonna turn the volume on a little bit later. You can see what's going on the stream here, but here's the thing. This game doesn't look good. Like everything is like extremely fast, which isn't a problem in and of itself, but the way the animations work and the way the animations flow doesn't give it a lot of watchability. Like as you're watching this, you can kind of see how just about all of the animations are in kind of this uncanny valley of startup time, I guess, and jerkiness. Like a lot of it just feels extremely wrong, and it's hard to exactly pinpoint why. And because there's not a lot of let's see, what's the word that I'm looking for? There's not a lot of excitement to the things that are going on screen, since there's not a lot of like interesting sounds or interesting effects. It's not super fun to watch, especially when you're comparing it to something like Super Smash Bros. Melee or Project M or even Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I love watching Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Everything looks so clean, the animations are so high quality, you can always tell what's going on the screen, unless some crazy interactions happen. I mean, granted, this is kind of a slow-paced match here. You have a slow character versus a zoner character, so you can kind of understand. But when things get fast, it's really hard to see. It's hard to keep track of things, and it just doesn't have that visual pizzazz that keeps the viewers engaged. And I think that is a lot more important than people might realize. One of the reasons Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is so fun to watch for me is because it looks so good. I can see exactly what's happening on screen. When somebody makes a choice and something happens as a consequence of that choice, you can kind of understand why that choice was made. Let me see if I can find another match, because this isn't really demonstrating things quite how I wanted to. Nigel versus Oblina should be a really interesting one. So Oblina is a very fast character with a lot of combo potential. Nigel is a large but also kind of fast character. Like, look at these binocular animations. It's just weird and kind of disjointed with itself in the way the animation works. And then just everything that's going on screen feels a little too chaotic. Does that make sense? Like, even with Super Smash Bros. Melee, you can kind of understand what's going on. even without playing it, as long as you watch a little bit of it, you start to understand what's going on, the choices people are making, why they're making those choices. But here, because the animations are so jank and so jerky, it's hard to really, it's hard to follow it. So it doesn't make a very good or very fun watch compared to something like Smash. And let's turn the volume on here.
Getting some good hits in as well, establishing a bit of extra credit. Oh! What a trade right there. Juck coming out on top significantly.
Okay, I'll admit, that was a pretty sick trade. I mean, I would be as hyped for that in any game, because like, you know exactly what happened there. Nigel sacrificed himself to take out Oblina with his spike, because he knew that's basically the only thing he could have done. But the reason I wanted to play the audio there wasn't for that hype moment, but it was just to listen to the sound effects and how non-impactful it all sounds. Like, you have these random ribbits from Nigel and these cacaws from him as well, these weird like clap noises, and then you have Oblina's just... it all gets extremely repetitive, extremely quickly, and so does the music. It's just, look, you have something that's not super interesting to watch. You also have something that's not super interesting to listen to. The music sucks, the sound sucks, the animations suck. So it just all gets kind of, I guess, exhausting. Is that fair? Like, I know gameplay is king. This is an extremely fun game, although kind of unbalanced in this early stage. I think Michelangelo is absolutely horribly 100% broken because of his Nair and because of a couple of other things. But in general, it's a really fun game to play, and I have a lot of fun playing it with my friends. But like when my favorite Smash creators make videos about this game, or videos where they're playing this game, it doesn't have the same, it doesn't hit the same, right? It doesn't feel as interesting, it doesn't feel as fun to watch. And I think it really just comes down to the visual and audio polish of the game. Like the lack of voice acting, the subpar audio design. It's just all... It leaves a lot to be desired. Because of that, I think there's going to be an extremely high uphill, extremely steep... Carried. I think there's going to be an extremely steep uphill battle to climb to get the viewership and get the adoption rate for this game. And on that note, I want to check something. The Steam charts of Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl. See how it's been doing since it launched. Okay, this doesn't look very good for our friends Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl. Here's launch day. Actually, I think this is launch midnight, so it's a little low. This is launch day at 13,250, and it's been losing a very significant chunk of its players every single day. It looks like it's starting to level out, but with Saturday, October 16th, during the peak period, at only 2,200 players, it's really not looking good for this game. There's a lot of reasons for that. One, I already talked about all of the visual and audio polish. I think that has a lot to do with how it feels to play. And then two, the netcode isn't nearly as good as we had all expected. There's a lot of Wi-Fi warriors that are making the rollback feel extremely bad. On top of that, I think my internet connection might be a little weird. I've been having some problems with it over the past few days. But it doesn't feel like, when I heard rollback, I was expecting like Guilty Gear Strive levels of awesome, but it's not that. I end up fighting people where they're like teleporting around the stage, and it makes the jerky animations feel even jerkier because they're teleporting, maybe not across the stage, but like they're here and then they're here. It's a small amount, but it really adds up and makes it to where you have a hard time tracking things with your eyes, and because they're kind of teleporting instead of being interpolated across the screen like you would expect them to, like moving in a more natural way, you have a hard time like tracking their movements. At least that's how I feel about it. Plus, there's a lot of imbalance in the characters right now, which is to be expected with a very new game. Like I said, Michelangelo's so broken that and I called this after my first like few sessions. I would run into Michelangelo's and I couldn't do anything against them pretty much. I had to wait for them to make mistakes to even have a chance. But the thing is, he's banned in a recent tournament because of how broken he is. Even if you don't take into account his like infinite stall capabilities, he's just broken. I have high hopes for this game. I'm hoping that they don't just abandon it. What I'm hoping for Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl is for them to take the early feedback that they've gotten, not just from, you know, more casual casual competitive players like me, but from like the higher level players as well. I hope they can take the feedback and they can take the game, they can add visual polish, add some audio polish, make it look better, feel better, and just run better in general over time. And I hope that they also tweak the gameplay to feel better too. Because as fun as it is, there's a lot of things that don't feel, maybe it's my inexperience with the game, it just feels like out of control. Like Powdered Toast Man's recovery is just garbage tier. I don't think it has any right to be as bad as it is. Up air chains are pretty much free for almost any character, and kind of a combo that you want on just about any character, so it's kind of the samey across the board. I don't know. The gist is, I think it's a good game with a solid foundation, but there's nothing to keep people around right now. There's no flash, there's no pizzazz. Viewers aren't interested because it's not fun enough to watch, and because it's not easy enough to follow with your eyes. And people are dropping off because the netcode isn't as good as people expected with the announcement of rollback, and because a lot of things just feel wrong when you're actually playing with people. As fun as it is to press the buttons, unless you're at a super high level, you don't really understand what's happening whenever the buttons are pressed. That said, when I click on the Twitch viewers here, I mean, there was a lot of viewership on the first day because pretty much every Smash YouTuber and then a lot of other people were playing. But if we zoom into the week, viewership has been dropping a lot as well, but we're still getting like over 10,000 on a lot of days, close to 10,000 on most days. And I think there's a tournament this weekend, which is making the Twitch viewership spike pretty hard, but it's very narrow. The game's just not keeping people interested for long enough, I think. Like I said, I hope they don't abandon it outright without giving it some time and like letting it bake. Because if they make the right changes to make it feel good and look good and sound good, or at least good enough to keep people around, then I think this game has the opportunity to blossom because of the power of the nostalgia that it brings. Anyway, that's the video. If you could do me a favor and polish that like button for me, and then click it, that'd be great. I'd appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. I recorded 3 videos in a day. Sure, man. He's still there. He's like, don't look at me, it's too bright. Turn off those lights, you stupid human.